Hey, good morning, folks. I'm your host, BKP. We are at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. A little rain this morning, not bad, not bad. We expect that here in late December, almost Christmas time. I have the shirt. It's Festivus. This is my Festivus sweater. Festivus for the rest of us, all right? And that's almost what it feels like with this impeachment. Oh my gosh, where do I start? So, Boris Johnson, landslide victory. Landslide victory last night. All right? And Brexit will happen now. Will happen. And the Great Britain will leave the EU. Finally. Landslide. Remember, it was just last week when our president was in NATO, at the NATO summit, and the left-leaning media, the corporate corrupt media, I call them, were all reporting that Boris Johnson was trying to stay away from Donald Trump because Trump's unpopular there and he was in a real close election. Nothing close. The Labor Party lost, and Boris Johnson broke the big red wall down. In our elections, that's comparable to the blue wall, okay? The blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, that blue wall through there, Minnesota. Hey, you know what? The red wall over there is equivalent, and Boris Johnson busted it wide open, folks. People around the world are fed up. It's worldwide. The people are fed up, especially in this country. We've had enough with this impeachment. 14 hours yesterday. 14 hours they spent, Jerry Nadler and the House Judiciary Committee. And at midnight, instead of voting, he wants to do it at 10 a.m. this morning so he can get a little more TV time, a little more air time. Maybe people were not up at midnight watching the vote, and he wants to make sure as many people can see it. Democrats are in a real mess over this impeachment because it's an impeachment about nothing. Remember, the funny thing about Seinfeld, it was a show about nothing. Remember that? That was the joke. It was a show about nothing. This impeachment's about nothing. Abuse of power. How did he abuse the power, right? Well, anyhow, moving right along. Wonder what the all-star political panel will want to talk about this morning. We're at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. We have Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley right after this. We have the all-star political panel, and I'll tell you what, we're going to probably dig deep into IG, the Inspector General's report, Horowitz's report this week. Yes, the president's campaign, Donald Trump, in 2016 was spied on. Yes, they went to the FISA court and used false information to get a warrant. Yes, they went and renewed the FISA application 3 times, knowing the information they had was bogus, that they were using to get the warrant. Yes, and it goes to the top. How come they stop at James Comey? Even Biden's in trouble in Ukraine with his corruption. James Comey. Why do they stop there? Because let me tell you who has known about everything, every minute of every day, and was and still is involved. Barack Hussein Obama. Absolutely. They'll talk about that. Well, hey, right after the all-star political panel, it is North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, the Community Relations Director from Cameron Hall, and then our Pet of the Week from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. I'm your host, BKP. Yes, impeachment. Remember, Seinfeld was the show about nothing? Impeachment. It's about nothing. Midnight last night. Nothing. Festivus for the rest of us. We'll be back right after these messages.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Better days ahead.
Days Chevy in Jasper makes the holidays bright, and during the 2019 model year-end clearance sale, the savings are huge, like over $11,000 off 2019 Silverado crew cabs, or more than $6,500 off 2019 Chevy Colorados. 'Tis the season of giving, and we're giving you thousands off every Chevy during the 2019 model year-end clearance at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys always cost less.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's now time for Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. We want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital. So Northside Hospital, we appreciate you for this segment. How are you today, Dr. Whaley?
I'm great, and yourself?
Great.
It's chilly on the porch, but it's nice out there.
It's okay.
I like it like this.
Yeah, it's
Fire in the fireplace weather.
Nice. Raining a little bit, but you always give us
Still 6 inches behind in rain, and we're not going to catch up in the next 2 weeks. So
That's what I was getting
we're going
ready
to end the years behind in rain. Okay.
Now every time I hear it rain, I say, Dr. Willie will give us our report.
Really happy about it. Yeah.
All right, so anything before we start into questions? Because
No, we got such good stuff today. I'm not going to go into my political rant, or they're messing with my president, or I'm really the red wave in Britain, though. My man Boris, that red wave in Britain is nothing but the sun rises in Britain 5 hours before it rises in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. And the political move in Britain happens about a year before the political move in America is going to happen. So that red wave they had yesterday in Great Britain is going to happen in the United States in November.
Well, I just, I watched the media and I thought it was funny because last week all of them were talking about how Boris is trying to stay away from Donald Trump because he's so unpopular. Well, Donald Trump went to Downing Street and had dinner with him, right?
Absolutely.
Last week. And Donald Trump has worked out an enormous trade deal that they're not going to talk about.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's not poison ivy that they're making him out to be. Anyway,
we better get to the question.
Boris, I like Boris. I
do too.
He goes to vote with that dog in his arms, and it looks like he didn't comb his hair. I just love the guy. Anyway.
Yeah, I got to give it to him. He's not interested in how he looks on the camera.
My English friend that used to meet once a month with the Prime Minister for 25 years does not meet with Boris, and he lives now in Monaco, and he just shakes his head. He says, Boris Johnson's too much like Trump.
Well, what is interesting, before we do move on, what is interesting is the way things work. Now, he will go to the Queen today, and the Queen will instruct him to
form a government.
Yes, and that's right. How it works. So he will go to
Watch The Crown
on
TV.
I haven't missed one, but he will go. John Lithgow plays an amazing Churchill, did he not? Yeah, he knocked it. We got to get going here.
Let's go. All right.
We got. I like that.
All right, I'm going to read the first one here. I'll save you the time and trouble.
Okay.
You have to put your glasses on to read this. All right. This question, I guarantee you, comes out of that thing a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about colonic polyp prevention, taking a baby aspirin. Remember part of the news?
Right.
All right. My sister is only 45 years old and had bad anemia that was iron deficient. It responded to iron in the vein. That was proper treatment. Her doctor is pushing her to have a colonoscopy and a stomach scope done. Is this necessary at this age? Now, she gives us a little more history. Our mother has polyps, and her mother had colon cancer in her early 60s.
Let me say a couple things here before you answer that, because reading this question and spending the last several years with you, there's three great things to work with: is her mother and her mother, and her mother having in the 60s, and the person asking the question 45. So that is a lot of good information to work backwards, is it not?
Absolutely. The one thing they left out was, how many times has the sister been pregnant, and is she still having menstrual cycles?
Oh, okay.
So they left out a little bit of stuff. Okay, put up that first. This comes from this. You can't get in unless you're a member of the fraternity medical site that I've put you in before. But if you take a quick look at this long list, I don't expect anybody to do it, but talking about the initial evaluation of somebody with iron deficiency, which is what this question's all about, it then gets to the colonoscopy, talks about the various things that can cause iron deficiency. We're going to hone in on the colon and the stomach here in a minute. But if you look, and I don't know if you can see this, but marathon running is one of them. Now, you would never think, marathon running? How in the world is that going to give you iron deficiency? One of the things people don't think about if when they're iron deficient is, look at that one, history of multiple blood donations. Okay, so this becomes first a matter of taking a good history. Marathon running iron deficiency anemia is akin to bongo players' anemia. Did you ever hear of a bongo player with iron deficiency anemia?
No.
All right, bongo drums, you beat them like that. You hit your hand hard, it fractures the red cells in your fingers. They break, and therefore urinate the iron out. It's not the normal way the red cell dies so that the liver and spleen can reprocess it. The marathon runner who gets anemia is running 26 miles, pounding the ground with his foot, and I ran 40 miles a week for 40 years, right? That's a lot of pounding the ground, so your feet are doing what the bongo player did. The original anemia of fracturing the red cells with trauma was described in bongo players. I think you were Jamaican or something, and then they got to be a marathon runner. So just in terms of the many things that can cause iron deficiency, one thing I want you to take to the bank: you cannot become iron deficient in the United States, very rare exception, unless you are bleeding. Got it? You got to be losing iron somewhere, because all of our regular foods, bread in the pharmacy, in the grocery store, and everything else, is fortified with a little bit of iron. So all of this history that they're taking here is to figure out whether or not there is a clearly demonstrable historical fact that'll tell you where the blood was lost. So, if you're iron deficient and you have not been donating blood, and you're not a marathon runner or a bongo player, and you haven't been shot, stabbed, or operated on, then you must be bleeding in your GI tract. Anywhere else you could be bleeding? No. All right. So let's go to that next one that's got that big old chart there, because it's really kind of easy. Because on the left-hand side, they're talking about infants and pregnant women. We're going to forget that one. And then here they're talking about young females, and I'm going to call this woman at 45 a young female, okay? So they're going to go into a detailed medical and gynecologic history, that's heavy menstrual cycles. And we didn't get that information in the question, but we did get that information in what the doctor wants to do next, because he has now said two things. Over here, yeah.
And stomach scope.
Yeah, over here, so it says males, that's you. Any male, everything over here is women. Any male, complete GI workup. That's it. You're going to have a GI workup. And males, postmenopausal females, and then females in this category who have reasons, they must have a complete GI workup. Now, you can pull that down there, Lonnie, leave things off for a minute. So complete GI workup means not that you collect that little thing and mail it in like you see advertised on television for screening for colon cancer. GI workup actually means a esophagogastroduodenoscopy, EGD, looking in the stomach and looking in the colon with a light. It can be both done on the same time. Insurance pays for it, but it is absolutely mandatory, because there's so many things that can cause you to have GI blood loss without a bellyache. And the most important one in the colon that can cause you to have iron deficiency, of course, is polyps or cancer. Now, we recommend doing your first colonoscopy at age 50, remember?
Right,
This
yes.
girl's 45. Well, even without iron deficiency, the recommendations, as I gave a few weeks ago when it was saying what tests did Ray Tidman or somebody recommend that you get for cancer screening, it has moved the age down to 45 in people with a strong family history of colorectal cancer or polyps. So even without the iron deficiency, yes, it's worth doing the colonoscopy on this patient. Now, I want to switch to iron deficiency alone in a minute because it's such an interesting topic. Put up those fingernails. Doctors today are trained to use this thing, a computer,
Right.
to make diagnoses. In my day, we were trained, you got the fingers up there, to make a diagnosis by history and physical examination, because we didn't have a computer and we didn't have all this automated laboratory and everything else. So I want you to take a look at these.
Let me see that.
Yeah, look at that there. You see those fingernails? Mm-hmm. Now, you could be standing in the checkout line at the supermarket and see that fingernail, and you can tell that guy, that's normal here, spoon nails there. That's called a spoon nail there on your left. You need to go see your doctor. You may well be iron deficient. I actually have had the opportunity to be in the cafeteria line at Fort Gordon with when I was a medical student with a Army doctor trained in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican origin, who made a diagnosis of leprosy on the back of the neck of a young paratrooper who looked like that. So if you really attune to diagnosis, it's amazing what you can do when you see people. Okay, show those two mouths, will you? Now, this is really not too, at this time of year, take a look at this. This time of year, there are a lot of people who get chapped lips, right?
Yeah.
You know, and particularly kids who lick their lips a lot. But if you look real carefully here, at the corner of the mouth, this is called angular stomatitis. At the corner mouth is a little crack. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Now, that's not like a big old X on your face, but absent chapped lips or other causes that would make this part of something else, that angular chelosis, which is a crack at the corner of the mouth, can be a sign that that person is badly iron deficient. Okay.
Now that's absent chapped lips.
Yeah,
so
chapped
right
lips or
now I
something
don't
else.
have chapped
No, you
lips,
don't.
but if I had that,
If you had that,
I would be concerned because
well, you would be concerned because you would know about it, but somebody else would tell you go see the
Right.
If you listen to this and you see that on somebody at your house, let them go see Ray Tidman or go see their local
Right.
doctor. All right. Now, there are a few things in the history that would turn you on to iron deficiency. Now, my wife swears that I have a sound magnifier in my body, and that I like to chew ice. So when I'm getting a Coca-Cola or the lemonade at the Chick-fil-A, I chew it. And she says that makes a loud noise. But people who are eating ice excessively, that's called pica, P-I-C-A, generally that's associated with iron deficiency. Now, you've heard of people in South Georgia that are pregnant who eat dirt. White dirt is kaolin, red dirt is red clay. Those are signs of iron deficiency. So this tendency to want to eat something strange. I've had people that ate coffee grounds, canned peaches, ice, and all kinds of dirt. That's a historical feature. These are physical features that would tell you immediately they're probably iron deficient. So put up that last one, and then we'll move on. Treatment for iron deficiency is the next one. And basically it says women suffer more than men from iron deficiency anemia. So this was you can pull that off now. I just wanted to get that as an introduction. This is a woman. There are going to be a lot more women with iron deficiency than there ought to go be men. There are going to be more men with colon cancer, but there are going to be a lot more women with iron deficiency than there are with men. Much of that will be related to the multiple pregnancies and menstrual cycles that they had. They can be 5 years post-menopause and still iron deficient because it takes a long time to recover just from multiple pregnancies. But if there's not a gynecologic sign of blood loss, and if you're male, it's GI blood loss, and yes, the scope should be done.
So the doctor, it's written, is pushing for this, what the doctor's asking they should go through.
Absolutely.
With.
And when they say pushing, I hate to say it, but we do have to push some people.
Right.
But we say, look, I don't want to drink that stuff. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And as I said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about routine tests, the number of patients that I see with advanced colon cancer who are in their late 50s or beyond and never had that colonoscopy at age 50 would not be in that situation if they had the colonoscopy. Well, you take that and multiply it by 100 if a patient had iron deficiency and then declined the offer of a colonoscopy, the chances that they've got colon cancer are huge compared to the average population.
Not to get sidetracked, but could you explain a little bit polyps, and are they dangerous?
Well, polyps. Polyps are little growths, and the polyps are statistically associated with colon cancer, and there are different categories. We won't mention who, but there's a member of your expert panel whose family history is very strong for colon cancer, and who has polyps and has to have a colonoscopy every year or two, because polyps are a precursor of cancer. So yes, if polyps are there, they need to be removed, and instead of telling you to come back in 10 years, like a negative routine colonoscopy at age 50, you're going to be back in 1, 2, or 3 years, depending on what the actual category of those polyps were. But it would never be longer than 3 years. So normal colonoscopy, come back in 10 years. Polyps come back in 1, 2, or 3, depending on what the pathology on those polyps were.
Okay, so, all right, thank you very much.
Oh, and 2 weeks ago, remember where I said low-dose aspirin may not be, all the publicity about the low-dose aspirin not being good for everybody, don't worry about it, but they didn't mention the colon cancer. Remember, it decreased by 30%, the colon cancer. So the low-dose aspirin in this patient's whole family ought to be on low-dose aspirin or something like it.
Hey, folks, we want to thank North Georgia Cancer Research and affiliated with Northside Hospital. Thank you very much, Northside Hospital, for this segment. If you have a question for Dr. Whaley, send it to us at info@fetchyournews.com. Put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. Also, if you'll follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, you will see Ask the Doc posts throughout the week, and you can put a question there. Okay, our second question, very interesting, because it has the end, and I'll just say cause cancer. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and there's so many things now through developed research and study with people like yourself that we're starting to get more answers on causes than we did 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
And so do you believe that stress, anxiety, or emotional things can cause cancer? Are there any links there?
All right, I want you to read that again, real slow and real loud.
Do you believe?
Do I believe?
That stress,
Okay.
anxiety, or emotional things can cause cancer? Contributing factor.
All right, the answer to that question is no. But I'm going to present a whole bunch of information here.
Well, let me ask you before you do, because we're talking about, let's just say, emotional things, and emotional things, I don't want to say not medically, and physical things. They're two different separated things?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna link. There are going to be some links here in just a minute.
All right.
But I discussed this with multiple colleagues as I was putting this together, because this opens up this huge Pandora box of a little bit of information that is taken out of context and blown up and become sort of an internet or mythology, not unlike vaccinations. Put up that first one, will you? This is an American Cancer Society. I think this was an invitation, actually, to a meeting, but cancer is more than a physical fight, okay?
Okay.
Anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress can take a heavy toll as well. What that says is that if you've got cancer, now it doesn't say that anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress causes cancer. It says that if you've got cancer, cancer can cause anxiety and depression, and it can cause a post-traumatic stress.
So that we're supplementing cause with have.
Yes, you've got cancer, and now that's good. And then it says it's okay to ask for help. And this is the opportunity for people to go to support groups, or we have a psychologist. And in our practice, we've got people in the practice whose business it is to counsel patients and families about the anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress and all of the emotional things associated with cancer. So that is absolutely true that cancer is associated with these things, but it's the cancer, these things that follow it, and they need to be addressed. So now go to the next one and to show this. That's a breast cancer. What does that say?
Emotional stress can cause breast cancer.
That is absolutely fallacious.
Is it?
Wrong. Totally 100% wrong.
Okay.
And the very next thing, now this is where they take a tiny bit of information and then blow it up with a bunch of hype and get people sucked in. Now turn to this next one, chronic effects of chronic stress on cancer. None of this is absolutely true. It begins by saying cortisol and adrenaline, those are stress hormones,
Right.
can increase insulin and blood sugar levels. We know that. I actually published that when I was a medical student doing research in obstetrics. They then go to say the increased insulin and blood sugar can cause cancer development or cancer growth. Well, that's that myth that you heard before, that sugars cause the cancer to grow. There's no truth to that whatsoever. And then that they can say that increases free radicals. Well, everybody's heard this stuff about free radicals, that's pesticides cause. That is absolute, totally baloney. Suppress the immune system. That would have nothing to do in this situation with cancer growth. Turn off anti-cancer genes. There is absolutely no evidence that that's true, or increase tumor growth factors. No, absolutely that's true. But look at the what would you call that, trademark or whatever, that did this. Integrative Oncology Essentials. Now that doesn't sound like the Mayo Clinic, does it?
No.
That doesn't sound like the National Cancer Institute, does it? Pull that down, Lonnie. That sounds like a group of people that are in the business of perhaps selling supplements, antioxidants, or whatever. So let's go to this next one. We're going to flip through these. This is an entirely different set, but it is roughly the same set of chronic stress will cause this, and this, for which there's absolutely no evidence. You got that?
I see a stethoscope.
Yeah, they make.
And what is humorous to me is they make commercials all the time, and it seems like if they'll just put one person in scrubs with a stethoscope.
Yeah, or a white jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. So. Okay, so this is BS. This is the next. This is the next. What do you call it? Visual that's in this series. And it says, understanding emotions and cancer, there's much more to cancer linked than bad habits. And this guy sitting at this peaceful site looking out over the thing there, it's just really, really good. But if you look at the bottom, it says alternativedoctor.com. What's an alternative doctor? Put up
Not you, for sure.
Put up that last one. I want you to look really carefully at this. The emotional reasons for cancer. What's that say? Chakra chart. You see this guy down here at the bottom in the yoga position? They've got the chakra that is out of whack that's causing the cancer is the 7th crown, the 6th third eye, the 5th throat. Now you got to admit that's way, way, way out there in
I got to look up my chakra chart.
unsupportive chakra chart. Okay, now, so what I'm saying about this is, you got everything off the screen there, Lonnie? This is just one of a variety of cancer myths that everybody has heard, and the one that I find so much, I'll bet 3 to 5 times a year I have this scenario. A woman will come in with newly diagnosed cancer of the breast. It can be early stage and curable, or it can be a relatively advanced stage. And the history is my 80-pound dog jumped up on me 6 weeks ago and hit me in the breast with his paws, and I got a big bruise over here, and it caused this cancer. Now, everybody has heard that myth that the dog hit him in the breast and the breast got a lump in it and that lump turned into cancer. What's the truth there? What is the truth there? Do you know?
It didn't cause it.
No, the bruise brought the attention of the patient to her breast.
Right.
And she kept looking at that bruise, and then as the bruise began to go away, underneath it's a lump. That lump was there when the dog jumped up there.
Right.
And now she's found it because she spent the last 2 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks looking at that bruise go away and thinks that the bruise is caused. So that's one of the common common cancer myths that I link to this one about stress, anxiety, and emotional things causing cancer. Because if somebody has a great deal of stress or anxiety or emotional disability and goes to their family practitioner, but seeking help, which is what they show on the very first thing here,
Right.
but it's the other way around, and then he starts examining them and he says, oh my goodness, you got blood in your stool, or you got a lump in your breast, or a lump in your thyroid, and you've got cancer, then the whole family has got, if they go on the internet and sees on this, they, oh, it was the stress that caused mama to get her cancer. So the basic answer to that question is absolutely not. The fact that you have cancer can cause you to have anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress stuff. Every cancer group has a significantly large support system in terms of support groups, professional psychiatrists, or mental health counselors like our daughter who's getting her master's degree that are trained to deal with the families and with the patients who have cancer and help them get through their emotional stress.
So there's what, let's see, my words here. There's no reputable study that supports this in any way of a. Sorry, there's no professional study or reputable study that you feel in any way is out there that says that it's a cause.
No.
None.
Absolutely not.
All right, I get it. Okay.
But that was a lot of stuff in there, right? That's controversial. My partners I discussed this with yesterday said, you got to be sensitive to the fact that
yeah, I want to make sure, because obviously stress, anxiety, emotional things is very important, could cause other things, but not cancer.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
But then if you have cancer, these things.
Yeah, let's flip over to sudden onset of coronary disease.
Right.
You're a young guy. Mm-hmm. You suddenly get a heart attack, an angioplasty, or a bypass. It's not hard to say bypass and angioplasty is more than a physical fight. Mm-hmm. It can cause anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress. I mean, it's perfectly logical that, bang, you suddenly have heart disease in a normal life, that it would cause those things. Not those things caused the coronary heart disease. You're a perfectly normal guy today. I haven't seen any signs of depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress in you. But 2 weeks from now, if you have a heart attack this afternoon and get a bypass and stuff, you could easily get into that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I thought it might.
No, those are very good questions.
Right.
And if you have a question for Dr. Whaley, you can send that to info@fetchyournews.com. Put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. Okay, it's that time of the week where we discuss any new things out there in the medical world.
I've got one really new one that I want to support really big time, and then I'm going to give you your Zika update, which now is not Zika, it's vape update, okay? We all have seen that I think in January or early next year, the nutritional labels on our food are going to change a little bit more than they have. The number of calories is going to be much bigger print. And instead of telling you that something this big around has got 8 servings in it when you're going to eat half and your wife's going to eat half, they're going to have a much more normal serving size in there. And everybody in the health business wants you to have good information. Well, there was a study released yesterday. You're going to hear a new term. It's called PACE, P-A-C-E. It stands for Physical Activity Caloric Equivalent or Expenditure. Now, this is really kind of interesting. It is going to have the calories in this piece of chocolate are 245. the activity it'll take to burn up that calorie is going to be a 44-minute walk at the pace of 4 miles per hour or a 22-minute run at the pace of 8 miles per hour. So when you turn over a cookie thing and it tells you how many calories, it is going to tell you, if this gets through the regulatory system, that to burn up that one cookie, you'll have to walk for 15 minutes or an hour. So you will be better able to understand what the calories mean. Now, is that interesting or not?
Yes.
Now, here's what they did. They did about 15 different studies. None of them were in restaurants, and none of them were in a grocery store. But they had like a cafeteria where they had the pace number and the calorie number in there, and then people chose their meals. Just by placing that there, the average caloric drop per day, per person, was between 200 and 500 calories a day. Just, they chose from the same amount of stuff they would have chose from before, but because they could see in their head how much activity it would take to get over this piece of cornbread or whatever, and that amount of caloric reduction would be associated with a lower tendency to gain weight or would help you lose weight. So I think if that pace, physical activity caloric equivalent or physical activity caloric expenditure number, can get through the legislatures and get through regulations and get on food, it'll help everybody in this country with the obesity epidemic. How you like that one?
I like
You
that.
didn't have that one. That's brand new, isn't it?
Yes, that is.
Okay, vaping update. Vaping update. There are now over 3,500 people admitted to the hospital, ventilators and bad vaping. They have not been able to isolate exactly which one of these things it is, but there are 4 separate products. Oh, I'll tell you another thing. 67% of the people that have been admitted are all white, and the age range is what? What's the age, Johnny? What age group people is this huge vaping epidemic like? Are they over 70? Are they over 4? Yeah, got it. 13 years old to 24 years old, mostly male, 67% male, and mostly white. So this is our teenage population in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Now, the products, all the products that seem to be at risk are illegitimate, meaning they weren't put out by Juul and they weren't put out by legitimate companies, and they have vape different names. The one that was in the South was called Dank Vape. Now, I would never buy anything called Dank Vape and use it. The one that was the Midwest and Upper Midwest is called Rove. Then one called TKO, that's a technical knockout, I guess, or Smart Cart. So that's the names that these things most have had in these filling stations and stuff that people have purchased and gotten sick or died from.
Once again,
Don't vape.
Once again, Dr. Whaley, great information. We always appreciate you doing this research. He has to go to work now. He works.
I work.
Always got something going on, world traveler, and then takes time to do research for your questions, and we appreciate you very much. You can send your questions to info@fetchernews.com, put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. We thank North Georgia Cancer Research, affiliated with Northside Hospital, for this segment. And don't forget, folks, we have so many great segments here. If you will go to our YouTube channel, FYN TV Fetcher News, our YouTube channel, subscribe, go to the playlist, and there are so many segments with Dr. Whaley you may want to share with family and friends. Great information on many questions he has answered that may be of interest to you. Hey, look, we'll be right back with the All-Star Political Panel. We got to get him out of here before he tries to say something political. We're going to get him out, right? So anyhow, he has to go to work. You got to get to work, right? And the All-Star Political Panel right after this. Dr. Whaley, thank you very much. Take us a break, Lonnie.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, 1 nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP, and we're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's time for the All-Star Political Panel. Bruce, Rick, Jane, Bruce, and as you can see, they
The bookends are doing
Yeah,
it.
they didn't play a lot. I mean, Rick has to go to a meeting, so he doesn't want to wear a Christmas sweater because he's got to look professional and act
Corporate.
right.
It's got to be corporate.
Yeah, he's got to act right. And Jane,
My sweater shrunk.
that's an answer.
I only have one Christmas sweater. Last year it was great. And
All
in
right,
that,
I'm going to go with that.
shrunk.
Sweater shrunk for
Sweater shrunk.
200, Alex. Okay, so anyhow,
That's
it's
little sheet of
Festivus.
sheet of slip.
Festivus for the rest of us. You know, the funny thing is,
Wait a minute. Let's go home. Let's go home and come back tomorrow morning
him
at
a
10
gavel?
o'clock.
Put that away.
We're going home and coming back at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, don't do
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry.
The audience is saying, please don't do that again.
That's your equipment. I mean,
That's
what
like
the hell?
never. That's
when I was
never.
getting his sweater out today, I love the
right.
sweater, and I want to say Rick got this for me last year, or year before
Last year.
Last year, it's Festivus, and you remember Seinfeld? I was thinking Seinfeld was the show about nothing, right? Remember, it's a show about nothing. That's the impeachment trial. It's a show about nothing. 14 hours of nothing yesterday. Hours and hours of nothing.
And then
Absolutely.
Jerry pulled the plug at the last minute.
At midnight, he said, let's go home. Congressman Collins had he went out to the mic and he just, I'm out of here. I forget what he said. It was,
I
He
didn't
said
see
that's
the
the most
replay.
Bush
I hadn't
League
seen
thing
that yet.
I've ever been part of. He said it was just
14
Bush League.
hours.
Yeah.
They were supposed to quit at 5.
Well, they have come up with one of the articles being abuse of power. What I mean,
No.
America's not buying it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Abuse of power.
Yeah, abuse
And
of power.
obstruction of Congress.
Obstruction of
Yeah,
Congress.
not justice.
Obstruction.
of Congress.
And where in the Constitution does it say that a president can't challenge subpoenas in court?
Nowhere.
You can challenge them. So they're calling that obstruction of Congress.
Well, I mean, the second one is ridiculous because there would be no obstruction. He'd have no reason to not talk to them or talk to them if they hadn't done all the other baloney first. You know,
Well, first of all,
they wouldn't have subpoenaed them if they weren't, halfway through this impeachment thing. So you can say that's a result of their actions.
this
what
all
he's saying.
started is the beginning, but let's say this was progressing with the beginning being quid pro quo, and then they
Bribery.
and then they did the DCCC, that's the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee. They went out to all the districts
Polling.
and did polling, and that's why what people don't understand when Congressman Collins says this is a focus group impeachment, they've gone out and done polling on what words work. So they came back and switched to bribery. Bribery's not even in the articles now.
Right.
No.
Either is extortion,
No.
quid pro quo.
Right, none of it-
that stuff
right.
in there.
Someone said they took all the words out that applied to Joe Biden because they just kind of wanted to get those words out of their head.
No, they were polling them, and
Kinda
they were
funny.
finding the ones that got the highest rating. I mean, again, polling Democrats. I guess in independents.
If you look for clips that are the most enjoyable, let's say this, okay? Because we've all watched some, and it's a busy season. I don't think it's a coincidence that the impeachment trial is happening coincide with Horowitz and that report to try to push it down. And I'm really glad, and we're going to get there. I am even more impressed with William Barr. I love his mannerism. I love the way he lays back and he says, okay, electronic surveillance, spying. Okay, what's the difference? I love his. And then Durham pushed back, and we'll get into that. John Durham pushed back and said, yeah, so he's got a report. I'm the one doing the real work. It's a criminal investigation. Yeah. But before we get there, on the impeachment right now, what is some of your favorite clips from congressmen that you've watched?
There's so many.
I know.
Well, we did one on the show the other day with Matt Gaetz from Florida, just
Everything
tearing
he
into
says.
Noah Feldman, the constitutional scholar last week. That was priceless.
Fabulous. Collins, everything he says. I just
He has
love
done
it
an
when he
amazing
gets
job.
My favorite clip, I think, was Gates again doing bringing Biden into it. And then, but bringing Biden into the whole thing, and the kid with his cocaine issue.
Yeah, bringing
didn't
Hunter
see
Biden
that.
in with his.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you what.
And then Hank Johnson from Georgia jumps on him. Well, what do you mean? In 1986, you got stopped for a DUI. Yeah, but it was thrown out.
Well, Hank Johnson gave a incoherent statement last night, like he does, and he says, "Well, when the president met with Zelensky had a look on his face like his daughter was in the basement with duct tape on her, and he would let her go when he gave the right." I mean, it was like, what the hell are you saying?
He is just an idiot.
He is, whoa.
He is a
Now,
bird
he's the one
brain.
that will always have Guam tips over if we go a little left
too many
or right.
people on the island, yeah.
Okay, so
what's going on over there?
You know, talk about Article 24,
guy-
25. I mean, he
Money
needs
fall out
to
of
be
the chair?
committed.
Okay.
the guy that I've liked so many of them, but Louis Gohmert, he just
Love
goes for it, right? And Louis named Eric Charmella. He named him. I loved it. Did you hear that? Where he put the,
I heard that
he heard the
I
whole.
didn't see it.
He read the list. You know, he said, "Where is Hunter Biden? Where is Joe Biden? Where is this one? Where is that one? Where is this one? Where's Eric Charmella?" He put it right out there. It's on record now. An impeachment started by a whistleblower that we're not supposed to know the name to nullify 63 million votes in America. There you go.
Oh, what are you going to do?
Right?
So you probably know, I just heard it on Fox News, the main CNN people and all the others aren't giving anything except the other side's statements and the
That's it.
opening statements.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it.
when,
That's
when
it.
they're
Very
on,
selective
they
with
say
their-
they totally
their
don't even put
broadcast.
that
Yeah,
on.
that's it. I showed yesterday. I have pictures. I have pictures yesterday.
Unbelievable.
What I do in the morning is, you know, I call them the byline. I don't know what they really are, but you know, when you're watching the news, they have that underneath
tape
that.
thing.
Well, not the ticker, like they're, you
That
know,
little run. Oh,
It's called that
It's called a crawl.
no, not the crawl. Like, you know.
Actually-
The statement.
Okay. So, anyhow, I watch every morning 4 of those, and CNN had like pictures of Horowitz, and so did MSNBC, saying Horowitz says FBI was justified. You see that at the bottom, you know what I mean? And they did not run any negative clips, no negative clips or any truth on Horowitz to speak of whatsoever. And I understand, now I didn't know this, but I've read several accounts that like MSNBC and CNN didn't run Lindsey Graham's opening statement.
You're
There
exactly
goes,
right.
there goes my loser of the week.
Well,
That's true.
Yeah,
my
didn't
loser of the
run their
week is CNN and MSNBC, who started the hearing with Dianne Feinstein.
right.
Unbelievable.
Went to Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
So,
there's my loser.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have more time at the end.
I don't want to say this because, you know, I get so aggravated when, you know, in the morning get up and say, "Oh, well, Trump is more popular than Abraham Lincoln." Okay, well, we didn't know Abraham Lincoln. We've read history, you know, so how can you do these
There's
things?
no
They shot
poll
him.
numbers.
Right, they just do this stuff. But the thing is, you know, I'm not going to call him yet the greatest president ever. I'm not going to do that. But how is history going to write if this guy is actually the greatest president that really on so many marks and impeached? I mean, you know what I'm saying? How do you become the greatest and impeached at the same time?
Well, they did that with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was hated in the day.
Right?
Yeah, think about it. Yep.
I mean, he
got assassinated.
He got assassinated. Yeah, I mean, they didn't like him.
So
he didn't become a popular president because he was assassinated. He became a popular president because of the way he brought the country back together.
So what happens? 10 o'clock, it'll be a party line vote in the House Judiciary Committee to send articles of impeachment to the floor.
Correct.
All right, let's go there. Because this does not remove the president. It'd be surprising the amount of people think it removes. So at 10 o'clock, they're voting to send the articles to the floor. By
The
Wednesday
full
next
House.
week. The full
Yeah.
House.
Right.
The full House of the 435 members. Supposedly by next Wednesday they can have this done, is what they want, next Wednesday. How many Democrats break, and how do you think the media
Well,
will
that's a
spin
tough
that?
question.
It is.
Yeah.
We won't know till
It'll
we
be
know.
interesting to watch, anywhere from 2 to 12.
How many
your
do
pick.
they need to? How
17
many noes?
have to defect.
17 Dems have to defect.
Okay, there's
That's
400.
assuming that all Republicans.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, with no
Man, if
Republicans.
we have a Republican,
Nobody, I don't think we're going to have. Now, you're going to have the one guy in Michigan that is now an independent. What's his, you know what I'm talking about?
But you're also going to have one woman in Michigan who probably will not vote for it.
Well, here's the thing.
A Democrat, yeah.
Dingle?
Here's your numbers.
Debbie Dingle.
well, going through school with that name,
I'm telling you.
that
Yeah.
was tough.
Here's your numbers. 435 members. There's 218 for a majority. Democrats have 235. They lose 18, and they got to lose 18 for Republicans to get the 218 mark for majority. But Democrats have 31 districts that Trump won in 2016.
the
There's
big
31
issue.
districts that he won in 16. My opinion is Nancy will. They need between now and next Wednesday to get their polling number in, and that's how sad it is. They'll get their polling numbers in, and what they're going to do is see which ones can defect, and they could afford to lose possibly. Let's say one of them's in a real close district. Okay, they might not let them defect, but let's say one's in a district that their polling is up 5 or 6, they might say, hey, you vote for it. They're splitting that now. You follow what I'm saying? I know it sounds confusing, but
We know what you're saying.
But
They know what you're
but you
saying.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They're
also
doing-
they're going to let them vote on the separate article, so you can vote for one and not
right.
again.
And
That's maybe how they're going to get it.
Yeah, they're going
That's-
to play the shell game.
Yeah, that's how they're going to sneak by
I didn't know you
possibly.
could do that.
Yeah.
Vote you.
Well, they're gonna present. The articles are just that. Each one stands on its own. It's
Yeah.
an article, so one will come up for a vote.
Yeah, so they
second
might
will
say
come up.
yes
Yeah.
on abuse of power, but no on obstruction of
That's why,
Congress.
that's why Jordan tried to add the amendment to say that he's striking number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
didn't
But so
pass.
what the Democrats are doing, and I don't mean to confuse here, is everything's about the next election and trying to maintain. So they want to come out and look like, some defected to try to save majority. They're going to do their majority count. What they can do, because they need 218, right? They got 235. They know they're going to lose a couple of these Trump districts because 31 of them went for Trump in 2016. And I'm gonna just a little prediction.
Going out on the limb, as they say.
Yes, but Trump is more popular in the districts he won last time now. His popularity is higher now than in 2016. It is. It's
Yeah,
higher.
he's proven himself.
Even
People now see that he's doing what he said he was going to do, and they've never seen that in a president before.
And
well,
we
I
don't
mean, the
know
media
everything.
hasn't talked about
No.
it, so a lot of people,
Don't know.
in this country don't know.
Because they watch only the CNN and they
And,
know
and, and
nothing.
in a way, I mean, that's kind of the boomerang on the Democrats because all this is coming out now. All the stuff he's done is starting to get coverage as a result of all this show trial.
But I kind of worry about when the real stuff does come out, how they're going to react. Because
Let's get the real
We don't know
stuff.
that. That's not true. They're going to be in the dark.
I don't.
You mean the
I
Durham
don't-
report?
No, I don't
Well,
agree.
yeah, and when they start, the Durham report, when they start prosecuting these people, they don't know, they have no clue that these things are done because they don't read anything but the New York
Yeah,
Times.
but I mean, that's a timing issue because the Durham report's late spring, early
Yeah.
summer. So prosecution anybody is not going to start until maybe after the
They're
election.
pushing.
Right,
They're pushing for an investigation into the Attorney General now.
Barr? Mm-hmm. Who's pushing?
Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. That was
They
her
want-
big.
They want an. They want.
That was her big
yeah.
position statement.
All right, so
during the,
let's look at this real quick. The impeachment. Okay, the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, they're all going to get together and see who can defect, who can't defect, and so that way it's not down party lines. They don't want it to look like it was down party lines. So there will be Democrats leave and vote no on impeachment, and they're doing their math now for that to see how to regain in 2020. Now it moves over to the Senate, so people know what happens is, according to our Constitution, the articles will get voted on. They're sent to a Senate, and they actually hold a trial. That's where the president could be removed. He will not. What say you on what we're hearing is going to happen in the Senate?
I think that there's a couple
Let me reframe this. Do you have a hunch?
Reframe it or rephrase it?
Rephrase it. I'll
Okay.
frame it. The president's being framed. Let me rephrase this. Thank you, Bruce. Do you have a hunch? Good move. Nice catch.
All I could think about was the My Cousin Vinny movie. On a hunch, I checked the arrest record.
That's right. That's why I want to know if you got a hunch.
On a hunch. I went back and I checked the record of Lindsey Graham and John McCain and Yovanovitch, and I think they're all guilty of taking a bribe.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Well, we talked about it on the show on Wednesday in depth about how the reports are coming out that there was a lot more going on than just Joe and Hunter.
Do you think Trump really wants all these witnesses?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he does?
I do.
Oh, yeah. He
Come
wants
hell or high water.
every one of them.
I'm telling you, and McConnell, the turtle, came out yesterday and he said,
Oh.
"It's going to be a quick show.
He's such
We're just going to have a quick vote."
Acquittal.
Yeah, we might
That's-
dismiss. Yeah, we
But
might.
here's the point.
We
with
might
that.
dismiss the charges.
To me, because you know how I feel about Lindsey Graham. He's a two-faced, guilty, deep stater that I think was, Trump said, look, you come out on my side and maybe I'll make a deal. So when
Anywho.
Trump was saying, I want you just impeach me, I'm not taking us, what do you call it? When they just say, no, I forgot.
Censorship.
Yeah, censorship.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I want everyone to come right. We're going to have a big trial and everyone's going to testify. The first thing Lindsey Graham said was, I don't want any witnesses. I just want to get it over with. That's because he could be caught up in
That's
it.
exactly
It hurt
right.
the
So
institution.
Hurt the institution,
Turtle.
yeah.
It could,
Yeah.
no, but he could be hurt, and a lot of them are involved in it on both sides of the
No
both
question.
sides of the aisle.
That is
so they just
the
want to get it
swamp.
going, and I'll tell
I
you,
think-
McConnell is right in there with those
I
goats.
think McConnell goes in the room and says, guys, witnesses come out.
We're done.
We have a problem too.
We're right.
Yeah.
They
We
already
also
said
have
that.
a problem.
Let's look at this again.
Yeah,
sir.
I mean, we might want to just say nothing to see here and move on.
We went in
But-
the weeds on
But is
on
Trump going to
Wednesday.
go along with that, or is Trump going to say, I want
He won't
this
have a
to drag
choice.
out?
No, wait a minute. No. Trump's attorney could send a witness list. I think in the Senate. I don't
What
know.
if the Senate just voted to dismiss?
Maybe they might.
Then Trump can't do anything.
What say you?
It'd be
You
interfering.
all right, you want a trial with as many witnesses as the president wants to call, yes or no?
I'm going to hold on that because I think there's other things at play in the economy and the political world that could cause the president and Turtle to reconsider. So I'm
So you're going to
hold.
say, okay, I know what I might want to see and hear, but what would it cause? What will we get out of it? What's the end result? And I don't know if
Yeah, and I think there's other things going on in the world, the trying to trade deal, MCA, all those sort of things that are going to have some push-pull on this.
Okay, what say you?
They're just going to the left-leaning party is just going to, regardless of what happens, the left-leaning party is going to come back and try to impeach him again.
Again, yeah.
But
They even had a sign.
Oh,
hanging,
yeah. They're ready
They
to go
even had
again.
a sign hanging in the room where they were conducting the hearing. There was a sign on the wall. said, even if it fails, we will come after him again.
No.
What do they think would be different?
No, Adam Schiff, as you've heard many times, has said the investigation's not over.
It's not over.
Although they've sent it to, it's not over. So they have their committees doing all this crazy investigating stuff, and then it won't be uncommon for Schiff to do again what he did with intelligence, send it to Judiciary for another article. I mean, you could do articles
because you have
in it, right?
You have the New York Attorney General, and you also have the Supreme Court. They're going to address
Right,
the tax return.
Right.
So come June, the end of June, if the Supreme Court rules, this whole thing's going to flare up again. Maybe
We want to see his tax returns
All right,
to
so-
see if he's being controlled by Russia. And I didn't answer your question. I would really like to see the Senate just go full bore, bring them all in, bring all the
I think you show the American people
and
This
get
is-
it over with.
This is what they did to you, the American people.
people they'll burn out on the coverage. I mean, they're already sick and
No,
tired.
they won't. No, I
And will it
disagree
get
with you. Oh, snap. Oh, that's what your shirt said.
Oh, snap.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
Respectfully, I disagree with you. Because...
I yield to the gentleman in the sweater.
Can I have the balance of your time? We've heard so much of that, right? Order, point of order. We got to use point
You
of order.
can disagree all you want. I'm with Bruce. I'm tired of it.
No, we're not. We're not tired of it.
You're not. You're a news
Are
guy
you
7
tired
days
of
a
it?
week.
I didn't watch anything yesterday.
You're not tired of it, and I can
I'm
tell
gonna
you why
watch
you're
the-
not tired.
Just the cuts.
All
the
right.
little
Okay.
cuts.
You ready?
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, no, you want the witnesses. Let's stay on the question. You want to do? You want?
Yeah, I
the-
want it. I
All
want
right,
it
what say
to
you?
go full cycle
You
and
want
get it
an
over with.
acquittal done over with?
I don't
or
want
you
this
want
to
see
come
all the
back.
Witnesses?
Here's what I want.
That's what I want to know.
Inquiring minds.
I was of the opinion, because Trump said, I want everyone to come out and be a witness. However, I want what Trump wants when he wants it, because he knows what's going on in the background, and if Trump comes up and says, let's just get it over with, then I'm for that. I don't know everything that's going on. And there's more stuff than just I think there's a lot of political big boy stuff that we don't know. And whatever Trump wants to do is what I'm going to say
Get
I'm
your big
for.
boy
I have a
pants
question
on.
for you, and hopefully you know this. I didn't see it like with all the ambassador this and the attaché that and all that. But if they get Adam Schiff and all the other people in a Senate trial, do they have the right to take the Fifth Amendment?
I would think.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
But I will say this. I disagree. I think you go to the Senate and the actual fact witnesses, you realize everything the Democrats have done with the attaché bureaucracy, American people know. They took a bunch of bureaucrats and put up there. They took liberal left professors that, we don't want to take a class, so we
Yeah.
didn't watch. What the Democrats presented was a snooze fest. Now, when you say you're tired of it, the minute it switches to the Senate, and Eric Charmella has to sit there, and Eric Charmella says, hey, who are you friends with? And did you meet with Adam Schiff? Did you meet with any? And Adam Schiff has to answer, hey, do you have two people on staff that are friends of Eric Charmella? I mean,
they taking the
I
Fifth?
think
I'm invoking the Fifth Amendment to protect my.
I think
But there are other
interest
people
level.
who will come and corroborate. Will say that they know
But
things,
I think the
But
interest. I think the interest level goes through the roof. Through the roof.
It's like remember.
If what?
If they call all these criminals.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying, let's
We're
do
not.
it.
I'm not tired of it. I want the Senate to pull the witnesses in. I want the American people to hear Eric Charmella plead the Fifth. I want them to hear Adam Schiff plead
Pleading
the
the
Fifth.
Fifth means you're guilty.
Right?
Everyone
I want them
knows
to hear
that.
it, and I want it on tape. Because let me tell you something. The reason I want it, and it really makes it angers me.
If they can, I don't
No,
know.
it angers me
You'd
because
think they would be
Congressman
able to.
Doug Collins, he can use any of my material anytime, and he continues to do so.
Can you use his material?
No, he uses mine because
Oh.
I say these things months in advance, and then somehow his staff
Can I
is
have your
clipping it out.
autograph?
Yes, and right after
With
the show.
half my brain tied behind my back.
Right, no, here's the... Damn it, let me make my point. Here's the point. I said how many months ago they want a TV commercial, remember? I said that.
They want
Rick,
sound
you know
bites.
that. You know that. I said they're doing this for sound bites because as soon as they're done with the impeachment, they don't have a candidate. They do not have a candidate.
They don't have anything to
cannot
run on.
win based on that. And as soon as they're done, they're going to start running commercials saying to you, are you really going to vote for this guy that's been impeached? So what did Congressman Collins say the other day? You're doing this because you don't have a candidate, you can't win, and you want a 30-second TV commercial, didn't he?
Yeah.
You're welcome, Congressman Collins.
Let me ask y'all a question. Do you
Now he
believe-
knows.
Here we go.
He could take a joke. He's
Question
tired.
on the floor.
He's tired right
There's a
now. Better not
question on-
push on him. He's
there's a
14
question
hours.
on the
All
floor.
right, question on the floor.
Y'all think that if they in fact vote against impeachment and the Dems start it all over again, do you think there's going to be a huge, and I mean huge, upheaval in the Democrats of our country? Do you think they're really going to see how ridiculous this is and just come out and march or something? Do you think that they are going to...
On the edges, yes, but I mean the
come-
Dems, they're
You think-
good at staying together. They're good at
I
staying...
don't mean the senator. I mean the public.
No,
Do you think-
that's what I'm saying. You'll have people on the edge, I think, get really disgusted with it, but I think there'll be a hardcore Democrats that...
I think
All right, we got to move to two more subjects.
If
and
they
you can
don't,
we have time.
if they hold the House, they
They're
can
not.
do it. If they don't hold the House, then
I
game
think
over.
I think
Game over. They're
Republicans are going to win the majority, and I want to see Congressman Doug Collins as Speaker of the House. Let me say this. What I didn't like out of the other day with Horowitz, okay, and the senator saying, Lindsey Graham and them saying, we've got to fix this. The FISA court warrant process, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. And then what's her name said, so if I put legislation in place, you will support that. We got to fix it. No, let me tell you what fixes things in this country. Start seeing some of these damn criminals go to jail. That's what fixes things.
Yep.
Not more legislation.
Don't hold your breath.
I'm not going to. But if you really want to look and say, hey, what would fix this country? It's like illegal immigration. Okay? We have laws.
Yeah,
We're
but
looking
they don't,
for
they
all
don't
these
go
new-
by the laws. How many lives
Thank
have
you,
they...
I know that, but
How
that's
many
the
lives
point.
have they
I think it goes back to the
ruined
point.
with
The
fake
FBI
fires?
should take
Right.
care of their own house.
Yeah.
They
How many
definitely should
fake fires
strengthen
is-
their own procedures.
Because we know now that Comey should have been fired.
Oh, yeah.
He should
We
be
know
in
that.
jail.
We know actually
Sooner than he did.
what our president did was great, amazing. Fire this piece of garbage.
Was gutsy,
But
boy.
what did that kick off? A special counsel, Robert Mueller. Him being fired, which we know. Now, let's move to Horowitz.
They were still in charge.
Let's move with the IG report. Let's get
Okay.
off of impeachment for a minute, okay? Nunes, Devin Nunes. I have a whole list of heroes, but he's one of mine. Because remember the night in 2017, he rushed to the White House because he found something and he needed to report it to the president. And he came out in 2017, I think it's March or May of 2017, remember, to the microphones in front of the White House and said, we have information that says that the Trump campaign was spied on, illegal surveillance. Remember that?
I did.
Right after that, you remember the media laughed at him. It's a ruse. They made so much fun of Nunes. Guess what?
Vindicated.
Nunes was right. Was he not?
And now he's filed a $470 million defamation suit.
He was correct in
Communist News
27.
Network.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just go like
Okay,
this.
what other
Take away from the Horowitz IG report, throw some Barr in there, John Durham, but what take away from that report the other day?
I think the report was pretty much as a lot of people expected. I mean, he can only go so far. He went as far as he could. I think when he got before the committee, the first blush response from McCabe and Comey and all that, I think he just blew that out of the water and say, anybody that touched this, from the highest level of the FBI down to the, scumbag lawyer who changed the email, is not vindicated. And that's as far as I can go. So I think Durham's going to go farther with those issues.
What say you?
The Democrats, when he came out with the report, were only focused on one thing, and that's to get that initial soundbite out there
Right.
that said there was nothing,
Infuriated me.
No political bias.
no political bias in there, and that's what they stuck
Justified to
with.
open it. Justified to
That's
open
what they stuck with, and they wouldn't go to the fact They wouldn't go to the fact, and no one paid any attention anymore, I'm convinced. CNN ran with that, MSNBC ran with that, and they never got in the weeds and let the people know, oh, by the way, you know, he only can write down what the people tell him. If they're not telling him there was political bias,
Yeah, and if there's nothing written.
he can't report that.
Yeah, because basically all he was doing was looking at the policies and procedures of the FBI if they've been followed.
Yeah, all he was was a
and that's-
stenographer.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a very low bar.
Omissions and errors are crimes.
Yes.
Omissions
Well, there were
and
17
errors.
of them, and
What do
they're
you?
all-
What? All right.
I was infuriated with that, and the reason is that when he came out with, oh, there's no bias, and then, of course, we kept asking him. Well, he said, I asked him if there was bias, and they said no.
What the hell do you expect him to
proof
say?
There's bias in every email, but he said, but they said no, and then we asked, well, there's 17 of them, blah blah blah. Don't you think that's unusual? Yeah, that's not. These emails said this. Well, yeah, but
I can't report
couldn't-
that.
I couldn't. Yes, he can. And so that I thought that guy, he was in a.
All he kept saying was, well, that would be speculation,
kept
and I
throwing
can't speculate. I
mud
can
in the
only write
water.
down what they tell me.
Welcome to the world of human resource management.
Well, I think
You know-
IG. When we talk IG, I think I'm not going to say he did the best he could, but I think what is misunderstood, mostly misunderstood by a lot of the American people, and I had to read up on it myself here several years ago. The IG is limited to what they can gather, what they can do,
He
and
did
what
it on
they
purpose.
can. I'm with you. I don't disagree
He shot
with
that
you.
out there on purpose. He
I don't
didn't
disagree
have
with
to go
you,
that
but
route.
when he was asked, he couldn't walk around it. I think I said the scary thing to me, okay, is
Point out what he couldn't walk around. You just said he couldn't walk around it.
he couldn't walk around
the
the
issue?
questions of Ted Cruz and Lindsey
That's
Graham.
right, yeah.
He couldn't walk around. For
Right.
one thing, what scares me in America, and people might say, well, you know, you have a magistrate here in this county. Every county has a magistrate or whatever. And law enforcement of so many different levels, all the way up to the FBI, there has to be a level of trust when you bring something and you request a warrant. So every time something happens, we see, oh, an Obama appointee, a Bush appointee, whatever. I don't go for that all the time. I understand they're liberal judges, but when a law enforcement agency comes before a judge and you get them out of bed at 2 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon, they have to have a level of trust with you that the information you're presenting is true.
Yep.
Because usually there's evidence, but there's warrants that from the lowest level in your county to the FBI and FISA court, a warrant's a warrant. They go on fact, they go on evidence, but there's a level of trust of the person that's presenting it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It scares the hell out of me that they falsified the report, falsified their application. Carter Page, let's remember this, America. Carter Page was a volunteer for the Trump campaign, not a paid volunteer, American citizen. People volunteer all across this country for Senate campaigns, Congress, right? Mm-hmm. He was a volunteer, American citizen. They falsified information, pulled a warrant, illegally surveilled him. Then, once they were totally confirmed, the dossier and everything was a piece of sh***,
Which they already knew.
but they renewed the warrant 3 times on phony information.
Yeah.
People must go to jail.
They must.
Must.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they go and they give Hillary Clinton's campaign a briefing,
Yeah.
and they say,
God. So
beware of a
obvious.
Russian, or beware of this. Then they go give a briefing to Trump's campaign, knowing they're looking at Papadopoulos, Carter, instead of saying, you may want to watch these people, we're looking, you should look.
Yeah, they
have
didn't
you
give
done
them a
back?
definitive.
No, let's see if you get caught doing something.
Then they
And
put
we'll,
a spy in the room
Then
and,
we'll put a spy.
They had
What the
several
hell?
spies.
and files a 302.
Do you understand? People need to go to jail. The best thing for me that happened is Horowitz put out his report. Barr said, no, we're not going to let that
That
go.
was important
And
that they
Durham
spoke
put that
out. That
statement
was
out and
huge.
said, hey,
That was bombshell.
Bombshell.
Yes.
Do you think they're going to make a movie about all this?
well, I can't wait
Yeah.
to watch. I can't wait. I'm storing
They'll
up popcorn.
screw it up.
Yeah, it'll be 5 years
They
from
won't
now, but
do it
anyway.
right.
So anyhow, any final words on that? Because there's one
Yeah.
more subject. Yeah.
One more point, again, with Horowitz is when he came out and said no bias. Then I think it was Lindsey Graham who said, yes, but they didn't say I'm biased. He said, if you ask a thief if he robbed the bank, what would the thief say? No, I didn't rob the bank. But Lindsey said, look at the emails. Look at this. Would you then think that there could be bias? And he said, well, it would look mighty fishy, you know. But so he could have looked at the emails. That's I think that he put that out there on purpose.
I think he couldn't, like you said
I don't know
before,
why.
he'd only be
He could read-
speculating
but
his
he could
opinion.
read the emails.
Well, I think that came out in his testimony, that there was a lot of fishiness.
He laid the groundwork
Keep in
for the
mind, keep in
Dems.
mind though that he can't even interview anybody that's outside the purview, the direct purview of the DOJ. If they're not working for him anymore, he can't even talk to them.
Yeah.
Let me say
He can't
this.
talk to Lisa Page.
No, it's absurd.
Let me say this. Dianne Feinstein rode around with a spy for 20 years.
And knew it. She knew that.
I get it. I love you. Know it.
She's
okay, but wait a minute. There was another point.
What's your other subject?
Who do you think was
she knew
funneling
it.
the Chinese money for her?
hitting everyone
No, that's
today. I don't
okay.
know why.
So Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, is riding around with a spy for 20 years. Like Lindsey Graham made the reference, well, if the FBI would have found out about that
I heard that.
3 years in advance and said, well, let's just let her keep riding around and see if she incriminates herself, right? No, they went right to her immediately and said, look, you got to... Same thing with Trump. When you went to brief the campaign, you should have said, these are our concerns. Okay? But no, let's just see. Let's leave him out there.
There's an issue out there that
Yeah,
you should
we'll
know
find
about.
it, okay? So I have a big problem with that. I'm going to give you my winner later. I can't do that. Boris. Boris with his pooch went to
There's my winner again.
I am smoking today, boys. Boris Johnson.
Trying to end the show early.
Dippity doing the hair going everywhere. Got his pooch in his arm at Downing. No, is it 10 Downing Street?
10 Downing Street.
Hey, he's got his pooch. He's headed to the Queen to say, Queenie,
I won.
and she throws out the little thing and taps him on the head and says, form a government landslide.
Yep.
Labor Party obliterated.
Yep. As they should have been.
Toasted.
And I thought
largest.
I thought they hated Trump and Trump like.
Oh, they're I mean, there's people like after the election over there going,
Well, it's Brexit 2.0. He's going to get out now.
January 31.
He gets out,
Yep.
and guess what? I love it. Let me tell you something. Deep state, corrupt corporate media, you take this and you smoke it in your pipe. Those are my nice words, because I got some real ones for you. Last week at NATO, right? Oh, well, Johnson's staying clearly away from Trump because he's not liked over here. Johnson is avoiding Trump. Trump went over there, went to Downing Street, had dinner with Boris, right? Mm-hmm. And they have put together an amazing trade package.
Coalition.
Right?
Yep.
With our cousins over there. And just wait. I mean, I love it. And we are going to have a major trade agreement with our allies over there. Because, Trump, every time he goes abroad, ruins us with our allies. I
The
love
European markets went ballistic yesterday when those exit polls came out.
What say you? You followed any of that?
Yeah. I was surprised that it was such a landslide, but delighted.
biggest majority
I really
since
didn't expect it
Thatcher.
to be that big.
Since 1987.
Biggest majority
for the
Just
Tories.
Really great. See, that's what's coming. Trump's going to have a landslide. We're going to take both houses, and the people just look at your interest on your whatever. I mean, look.
How do you control the geopolitical? Take your economy. Look at it's the economy, stupid.
Hey, that's what James Carville said, right? It's the economy. So winners and losers.
We've already
got
You already did Boris.
Well, say something, man.
I did have a backup for a winner.
No, I didn't have a backup.
Kimberly Strassel, Wall Street Journal editorial writer, basically said, referring to what we talked about, honey, we shrunk the impeachment, going back to what we talked about, that all the things they talked about, bribery and extortion and quid pro quo, they never made it to the final article. So that was
Kimberly Strassel, while he shouted that out, I want to tell you, look her up, read anything she puts out is great. And I told Rick this, I really like Molly Hemingway too.
Helen.
I do too.
Hennenberg.
Really.
Hennenberg?
Molly Hennenberg.
What do I say?
You said Molly Hemingway.
Hemingberg. What the hell's her name?
Molly Hennenberg.
Hemingway's the
All right, I got
writer.
it wrong.
Okay.
I like
Isn't that
Molly.
right?
I like Molly.
Isn't it Molly Hennenberg?
Close.
No, it's Molly Hemingway. Yeah.
I didn't have time for argument.
Anyway, my
sorry.
my
Hey,
loser.
listen,
I apologize.
You're still invited to Festivus, okay?
There is a Hennenberg who works on
All right, it's
on
at the
Fox.
debate.
But
There
anyway,
you go. That's who I was talking about. Her name's
Airball was Chris Wallace, who is moaning about how Trump has undercut, delegitimized the media to the point where he says, he's got people believing that everything we say can't be trusted. So, but.
Molly said a couple nights ago, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night, after the IG report when they were discussing it on Bret Baier, she said people have to be held responsible, and even the irresponsible media has to be account for this.
You think you'll see any newsmen in jail?
No, but we should. They're accessories to the crime. You got anything else, sir?
No, I don't.
All right, good. You?
All I got is what he said. No, I want to substantiate exactly what he said, and call Wallace an idiot, because he says that, and in the same breath you look at MSNBC and you look at CNN, who were my losers, and they don't put on Lindsey Graham on his opening statement. So, okay, aren't they delegitimizing themselves?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
So-
going to say. He's good.
Well, they're the Ministry of Propaganda. I mean, they are definitely
some
the
people
mob.
think they should be prosecuted. They're part of the
I do.
whole
I do. I believe in
misinformation.
freedom of speech.
And they do it on
believe in
purpose.
freedom of the press, but I also believe there's an accessory to the crime, and they are. Go ahead.
We've discussed it all, but I'll tell you, I was really standing up when the blonde with long hair, our side, was
side.
going on and saying, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe it either. I can't believe they're getting away.
Is that the
with
representative from Arizona?
I think
think
so.
Lesko?
I don't know.
Yeah. Debbie Lesko.
Yeah.
Man, she said, I can't believe it. How can this be? We don't have any wit. How can this be going on? And that's the way I feel. It's just so frustrating.
Kabuki Theater. We talked about it.
So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Mom tells me she gets tired of watching news, but even she's watching news. I said, Mom, this is history. This is history. It's like a huge. And then we're living.
I will
through
say
it.
this: I can't daily. I'm struggling with wondering how history's going to write this. I am. I'm thinking every day, how in the hell are they going to write this? Folks, I
written by the
have
winners.
two winners. I probably have some losers, but I have two winners. And one is President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Two is Rudy Giuliani. Now, those guys have known each other for years, and I love watching the media report on them. And then Trump will say anything, and that's what America likes about this guy. Trump will say anything. He never comes out of the White House. If there's a microphone, he'll talk to it. He is the most open, transparent president in my lifetime. He cannot go get on Marine One without, he'll stand there and talk to it for 30 minutes, and nobody preps the questions. Nobody preps the questions. If a politician or an elected official interviews on my show and says, what are the questions? I say, look, if Donald Trump will just walk out at a bunch of microphones, you can too. But the reason he's my winner is he'll say anything. So the other day they asked him about Rudy Giuliani. So Rudy gets on the plane and he's over in Ukraine because he doesn't give a rat's. He don't care. Rudy brought down the mob. Rudy has done some serious investigations, and they treat this man like an imbecile. Do a little research on this man. So he gets on the plane, he's over in Ukraine. Trump goes out and they say, hey, he's in Ukraine, what's he doing? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but I tell you what, he's been fighting crime for 50 years. He's a crime fighter. I'm like, I love this guy. Rudy's been fighting crime for 50 years, Trump said, right? I love that. Crime fighter for 50 years, Donald said. And it's true, because if there was any truth to this impeachment and all the things you hear about Rudy running a back channel, and don't forget, all the bureaucrats that came forward, they didn't like it because Rudy was running a back channel. Guess who has not testified before Congress? Because if Adam Schiff was really serious and the Democrats was really serious, you haul Rudy's ass in and you put him in front of a microphone. What the hell were you doing over there? Who'd you meet with? Where'd you go? Nothing. Crickets. They don't want to bring Rudy in because Rudy's got the goods. I'm telling you, he does. He's got the goods.
Do you think he looked good in a mask and a cape?
Huh? He's a crime fighter for 50 years. We got to get out of this. Too much fun. It is time for North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall, North Georgia's Senior Concierge. Say that, Molly Hemingway. Touche. Sorry.
What's a Hemingway?
I don't
about
know.
8 pounds.
Let's go find some Christmas Hemmings.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Better days ahead.
Day Chevy in Jasper makes the holidays bright, and during the 2019 model year-end clearance sale, the savings are huge, like over $11,000 off 2019 Silverado crew cabs, or more than $6,500 off 2019 Chevy Colorados. 'Tis the season of giving, and we're giving you thousands off every Chevy during the 2019 model year-end clearance at Day Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys always cost less.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little,
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. It's time for North Georgia Senior Living with Jessie Barton, the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall, and as I like to refer to her, North Georgia's Senior Concierge.
Concierge.
I got all that.
I like it.
I rolled.
And you have a French twist to concierge.
You got to accent. You can't just say concierge. You got to accent, okay? Okay, so you take, a little bit of backward country guy, first time goes to a nice hotel and like, what am I doing here? So we won't go what year that is. And then I'm like, well, where can I find this? Sir, you could stop at the concierge in the front. Who's the concierge in the front?
Who, what?
So I go down to the front and I'm like, and at this time, I'm showing my age. We don't Google.
This is true.
All right, this is back in the don't Google, and I'm like, I don't have a quick reference. I don't have a quick reference of how to, find out concierge.
Concierge.
What am I doing staying somewhere so
fancy?
Yeah, and then I go up and so I find this person, say, so instead of saying I don't know what a concierge is, I'm going to put it out there.
You needed Webster's.
Right? I'm saying, okay, I know how to do this. Excuse me, sir. Do you know where the concierge is in this hotel? Like I've known for years. Do you know where I can find the concierge in this? Oh, yeah, right over there at the desk.
Fake it till you make it.
Right, so I went over there and I said, concierge. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
But they do know everything.
Yeah, I need to know where I can get. I had to have a suit cleaned because of an incident the night before immediately, and I went to. So I don't know where I went with that story, but did you enjoy it?
Works.
Made you laugh.
It did, but it is true because we were just talking about, I just got back from New York, and that concierge knew everything we needed to know, and even warned us because we were going to catch Penn Station to Newark, and he's like, "You're going to get lost, so it's best to just do da 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 da." Or if you want to do da 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 da, I mean, they know everything.
And that's why I call you that, because seriously, a good concierge, when you're traveling, says, "Hey, I want to go here. We're not from the city. I want to go here." They know. You want to go 2 blocks. You want to go down the subway. You want to take the A train. You want to get off the A train. Wait, the B train will take you over here, and you want to get off at this stop.
How do they know all that, though?
But that's what they do.
Yes.
But that's what you do.
That's what I do for seniors.
That's what
here.
I call you, the senior concierge.
There you go.
Moving right along, you brought stuff.
I brought stuff.
And, well, it makes me nervous because, anytime I see stuff, I want to, but I figured I better wait and let you introduce your stuff. What stuff do you have?
Well, this is a gift for you.
It's a gift.
So, I mean, you are wearing the Festivus shirt. So
you like that?
It is the season.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Exactly. So, this is homemade peach salsa that our kitchen made.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
And
you guys have an award-winning kitchen, too.
We do have an award-winning kitchen.
I tell you what, the residents there, they're eating well, man.
They are. I have to admit. And then some blue tortilla chips to go with your homemade
Did they make
peach
these?
salsa. We didn't make those.
Okay, I didn't know. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Maybe,
we took a shortcut on that.
All right, but that's okay. But that goes, okay, I will report back. Trust me. Anytime it comes to food, I will report back.
So what this is, it's part of our...
I'm so interested in this.
It is part of our, we call it a dining campaign, but we want to introduce our culinary team because one of the number one questions we get is, how's the food? That's a huge thing for senior living.
Stop right there.
Uh-oh.
Stop right there. No, you want to get rid of the impression of hospital food.
Right.
It's not. I mean,
no,
and I'm not knocking on the hospital.
Right.
So that's where we're going. Is this
yes.
That old impression of somebody comes by at 12 and puts this tray and right?
Right. We have
Go for it.
linen-covered tables.
Oh, I know.
Linen napkins. It is a restaurant-style service. So We've got a few things to choose from for entrees, some sides to choose from. If you don't like any of that, we have an always available menu where you can get sandwiches, salads, soups. If you want breakfast at lunch, you can have breakfast at lunch. So this is part of our overall campaign. So we're doing a Taste of Georgia. So we're going out to our business partners and presenting them, A, with a gift for the season, but B, we want to introduce not only to change that image of dining, but we want to introduce that nutrition is a huge part of senior care. Because let's say that you have been, and you've went through this with your family recently, let's say that a family member has had a hospital stay, and then they go stay at a rehab for 2 weeks. When they get home from rehab, they're not going to feel like going grocery shopping. So they're probably not going to eat the best unless they've got somebody that can help bring them meals, because they're not going to feel like standing up and cooking for themselves. So a lot of times we see poor nutrition gets people readmitted to the hospital because they didn't follow up with good nutrition after a hospital stay. So our dining program provides all 3 meals. People usually complain that their clothes get a little tight because they're eating so well. So we want to show that not only can it be a great social event, but it can be medically important to have good nutrition and a good dining program to follow up any illnesses, or if you have a loved one not eating well, maybe they don't feel like cooking. It's a lot to cook for yourself.
You know, Cameron Hall is all about the residents. Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yes. It's their home.
Right. And that is, when I say this, that's what you try to create, is meals that are not feeling institutional.
Sure.
Feeling like you're eating your meal at home.
Absolutely.
You're living at home. Now, I don't want to say the word nothing, but it's virtually impossible to replace your home. So
Absolutely.
You can't
Absolutely.
try to do that.
No.
But
No.
what you could do is, if you will focus, and that's what you guys do a great job at, if you will focus on the resident and realize that's the reason you're there, and not lose that as your direction, and your residents experience a great, like you said, their meals are prepared award-winning. All right.
Exactly.
And I say this, and I want to tell this little, and I'm not knocking hospitals, so I want to tell this little thing, okay? So hospitals for a long time, if you don't mind, can I tell a quick story?
Tell
Sure.
a story. I
So
always love your stories.
hospitals for a long time, as we aged, okay, years ago, they got the hospital food, stigma there. It's hospital food.
Yeah.
It's a tray, whatever. So years ago, somebody, if you're in a hospital, somebody came down the hall with a big cart, okay, got your name, pulled your tray out, put it down, and it was just that, it was hospital food.
And it didn't smell very well.
All right, so now hospitals are doing a better job, and I don't want to knock
Yes.
their food. They're doing a better job, but now they'll come in, and somebody dressed as though they're like a waiter. Okay, right?
Wow.
Yeah. The hospitals are doing it now, like a waiter with a tablet. I'm so and so, like they came to your table. I'm here to take your order, right?
Wow.
But wait a minute. This I'm here to take your order. So what do you want? And they punch it in and whatever. So it has a feeling for the patient that you were just waited on, and there was a little more.
Sure.
Years ago, you got a little chart and you checked off your breakfast. Somebody came and picked it up, but they come by individually. And, all right. Then, when you get your meal, okay, it is better food now, but when you get your meal, somebody comes by that looks more like somebody that's serving instead of, right?
Nice.
And puts the tray on the table.
Very cool. It's a...
Wait a minute. My story's not done.
Oh.
My God. What?
And he's wearing a cheery sweater.
Sorry, I will get back to that. So, anyhow. So all that happens, right? So this lady comes and she's got a little bow tie and she's got a vest and she looks very nice. That guy, take your meal order, right? Boom. Then somebody comes, very nice service, and hi, how are you today? Pleasant, puts the tray down. And my mother says, this is where you didn't mean to, but my mother says, They can dress up and come take my order. They can dress up and bring me the food. They can put it down on that pad because she has an iPad. They can write it all down on that pad. But no matter what they do, it's still hospital food. I'm sorry. So I had to do that.
Oh,
no
that's
matter what they
hilarious.
do, it's still hospital food.
It's still hospital food. That's hilarious.
So I had to tell that.
That's hilarious.
They could do anything they want, but it's still
But it's
hospital.
still hospital food.
But and I say that because that's what, and I'm not knocking on hospitals.
Right.
Obviously, they have dietary. You have residents that have dietary needs that you have to
Absolutely.
meet,
Absolutely.
and each one has different ones. You know, somebody can't have salt, somebody can't have sugar, somebody can't. You know.
Well, and that's what we're seeing with, kind of transitioning from that hospital conversation is hospitals will discharge. A lot of times if you are getting a new diagnosis, it may come with new dietary restrictions. If you've had congestive heart failure,
Right.
they're going to give you some pretty stringent guidelines on your food. If you are newly diagnosed with diabetes, or if you have an incident that your diabetes is out of control, there's going to be some dietary restrictions. So we try to take the guesswork out of that for families and for the resident because we can follow those physician's orders. Now, the resident has the right to say, you know what, I'm going to rip up my physician's orders. I don't care what I eat.
Oh, I know that resident. Like my dad says, Dad, what do you want to snack on? Well, I got a big thing of ring bologna in there. Loves his ring. Really? Get me a couple slices of that. Then the nurse comes by and says, looks like your fluid is up.
Right?
Maybe I shouldn't eat that ring bologna.
Lots of
Anyway,
sodium.
So you have
But you have that right. You have that right. So, so that's kind of the fine line that we have to walk on. But we do have that option. Perhaps you've had some issues. Maybe you've had a minor stroke and it did cause some swallowing issues. We have the ability to puree foods. I know that sounds horrible to say that, but sometimes that's what is necessary if you can't swallow correctly or if you have trouble with liquids. So those are areas that, while it is a social activity to come and sit in the nice dining room, there is some medical reasoning behind our program too.
Well, what's this flyer about? Did I interrupt you?
No, I was just, this is our Taste of Georgia. Last week we had apple strudel, so
I see?
you can. This week is homemade peach salsa. It's all about what Georgia grows. The next one, I want to invite you and our viewers. We're going to have tour and takeout on Tuesday afternoon. So you come, have a tour of our building, taste some J wine, and take home dinner for two, either a vegetable lasagna or a traditional lasagna, side garlic salad, bread, all the works.
Dash in, dine out, Tuesday, December 17th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Cameron Hall. What is this all about? And why is this nice, tasty-looking lasagna on the front of it?
To tempt you to come down, take a tour, have a glass of wine while you're touring, and we're going to send you home with dinner for you and Lisa.
Tuesday, December 17th, 4 to 6 p.m. Dash and dine out. Cameron Hall of LJ invites you. Check it out. A Taste of Georgia. Now, week 3, all right, I have the peach salsa. I'm ready for that.
Yes.
Okay, week 3 says local LJ wine at Cameron Hall during tour
And
takeout. Reserve your to-go dinner for 2 today. Ooh, to do. Now, week 4 is Do You Know What Else Georgia Grows? This is kind of like a potluck, huh?
It's a surprise gift.
Interesting.
Yes. What else might Georgia grow besides apples and peaches and grapes?
Peanuts.
Close, maybe. Around that same field.
Peanuts. Okay, folks, listen. I forgot to check my phone, which I like to do that every once in a while, just not bother with it and realize the world's going to exist without, checking it. But I don't see a Pet of the Week has showed up. So I probably got a message that says they can't bring one, and I didn't check it. So will you just keep talking?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Did you recently, can I, you put it on social media, I don't know, can I ask if you've recently returned from a trip?
We just got back from New York City, Manhattan.
New York City. I just want to say that. I wanted you to say that. Huh?
I kept wanting to say that while I was on the metro and different things.
No, I kept wanting to say it when you gave me the salsa, but I didn't want to mess it because that's the commercial, you know. The guys are sitting there. This sauce is from New York City. New York City. This is not. This is from Cameron Hall's Kitchen. Award-winning peach salsa. Exactly. So did you guys have a good time?
It was amazing. It's just a different pace of life there.
No. No, not at all.
I mean, totally different. But it was a good leisurely trip. Got to see the Rockefeller tree for the first time. We've been to New York before, but not at Christmas. So that was an amazing.
So you went to Central Park.
We spent all day in Central Park. I felt like a princess because there's a little castle in the midst of Central Park. So we climbed the castle, and of course my Brian is, oh, it's your castle. And then he took me on a horse-drawn carriage ride through Central Park. So I felt like a little princess in a fairy tale.
Well, Central Park, the Rockefeller Center you went to for the tree.
We didn't try ice skating, though, because
but you went there and checked it out,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, people were doing all kinds of fancy stuff.
Yeah, ice skating. Anything else in the city?
We spent some time in Macy's, the old wooden escalator going up. I tried to do some shopping for holiday parties, and it's shopping for women is just, it's either really great or you just want to put everything back on the rack and walk out.
About 20 years ago, I'm going to say 20 years ago, I went to New York City, I've gone to New York City many times, but this particular time, and went into Saks, been in the Saks many times, Saks Fifth Avenue, and, and like, I was looking around, like, I was thinking, so if you want to purchase something and come out just to say you have a bag that says Saks, so I couldn't even find socks that I could afford. I'm serious. I'm like, maybe I can look at the socks.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't afford the socks.
That's funny. They had a great light display and show and music and everything timed together. One thing, and just because we're still in our senior, North Georgia senior segment, walking through Little Italy, you have to, where we came in from, we had to walk through Chinatown. And it was really neat to me because in Chinatown there were all these places, there was adult senior centers. So I know the Asian culture tends to take care of their own at home, so it was neat to me that they had those places. One was in conjunction with a kids' daycare. So that was kind of interesting to me. And we got there after they were closed, but I would have loved to have gone in and kind of seen how that setup worked with seniors and children together in Chinatown.
Did you have some dessert and coffee in Little Italy?
Of course.
Of
it's
course.
30 degrees outside, and we're the two nuggets sitting there eating gelato outside.
Yeah, it's like, when you go to Florida in the wintertime, and it's like 63 degrees, and you go to the beach, and you go, oh yeah, those are the Yankees down here, because the Floridians don't go to the beach at 63 degrees.
That's true.
To them, it's cold.
Yeah.
So when you go to the beach during Christmas time in Florida and it's 65, 66 degrees, and people are on the beach, those are the northerners. And when you go to Little Italy and you're sitting outside eating gelato and it's 30-some degrees,
All bundled up and
oh, they're not
see.
from here, man.
There is a place right off Mulberry Street, Ferrara, I think. It's a bakery. They have amazing cannolis, amazing gelato. So we stuffed ourselves with gelato and cannolis, and we ate in Little Italy every night. We loved the Mulberry Street Bar. So there's been a Sopranos episode filmed there, very old Italian place. The lady, you could see her in pictures, and you knew that she was one of the owners, very Italian.
When you go to Little Italy and you go into those restaurants and you sit down, it's very interesting to look around and see. Yes.
And I like the ones that are more what I consider a hole in the wall. They're not the fanciest on the outside. They don't have somebody out there saying, come in, we'll give you free wine. These are where the locals go. That's what we like to find.
All right, so you got a plan to go back when they have an Italian street festival there in Little Italy. If you like it that much, you got to go when they have one
I
of those
didn't
street
know they
festivals.
had such a thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got to go. It's 10 o'clock. We kept talking. This is Jessie Barton, Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall. Also, I call her North Georgia's senior concierge because a concierge can help you through with everything. And when it comes to making your decisions and senior living, this is who you want to contact. Tell them how to contact you, Jessie.
Give me a call at Cameron Hall at 706-515-4100. Find us on the web at CameronHallofLJ.com.
Cameron Hall, all about the residents, and they understand the Cameron Hall is their home, and that's how they treat it. I have this homemade peach salsa I will report back on. I may just bring the empty jar and say, let it speak for itself.
There you go.
How about that?
There you go.
We got to go. We're out. I'll be back Monday morning at 8 a.m. in the office. Don't miss us there. Have a great weekend. Come up to North Georgia and enjoy all the Christmas events we have all the way through North Georgia. Jessie, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Lonnie, thanks for everything. You out there, see you Monday.